Ambassador Day stood in the center of the council chamber, surrounded by aliens from 47 different species. The room was massive, built to intimidate. High ceilings stretched up into darkness. Holographic displays showed star maps of the entire galaxy. Every member of the Galactic Council sat in elevated seats, looking down at him. Day kept his face neutral. Behind him stood Colonel Hannah and Dr. Tay. They were the only three humans in a room full of powerful aliens who had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Chancellor, Boca the Valorians, spoke first. His species was ancient and proud. They looked like tall, thin humanoids, with silver skin and 4 arms. Vok's voice echoed through the chamber. Humanity has expanded too quickly. In 100 years, you have claimed 60 colony worlds. This violates the natural order of the galaxy. Other species took centuries to earn such territory. You must be corrected. Day said nothing. He simply listened. Another alien stood. This one was Kresh, a warrior species covered in thick, armor-like scales. His name was General Thrawn. The Council has been patient, but your aggression cannot continue. You build military stations. You refuse to share your technology. You act as if you own space itself. More aliens spoke. They all said the same thing in different ways. Humanity was too bold, too fast, too dangerous. The galaxy had rules, and humans were breaking them. Finally, Vok raised one of his 4 hands. The chamber fell silent. The Council has reached a decision. Humanity will surrender 80% of your colony worlds. You will submit to Council oversight of all military operations. You will pay reparations of 5 trillion credits. You have 72 hours to accept these terms. The chamber waited. Every alien expected Day to bow his head, to ask for mercy, to beg for better terms. That was how it always worked. The Council made demands, and species obeyed. Day looked up at Vok. He spoke one word clearly. No. The chamber exploded into noise. Aliens shouted in a dozen languages. Some stood from their seats. Others slammed appendages on their desks. In 3,000 years, no one had refused the Council. Vok's silver skin darkened with anger. You do not understand your position, human. The Council's word is final. Then the Council has made a mistake, Des said calmly. Millions of humans live on those worlds. They have built homes, started families, created lives. We will not abandon them because you feel threatened by our success. General Thrawn of the Kresh stepped forward. This is war talk. You cannot win a war against the Council. We have fleets of thousands, armies beyond counting, technology you cannot imagine. Day smiled slightly. It was not a friendly smile. Then you have nothing to fear from our refusal. Colonel Hannah stepped forward and whispered something to Day. He nodded. The human delegation gives the Council 72 hours to retract this ultimatum. If you choose war, that choice is yours. Day turned and walked toward the exit. Hannah and Tay followed. Behind them, the Council chamber erupted into chaos. Aliens argued and shouted. Nothing like this had happened before. As they boarded their ship, Dr. Tay looked worried. They will attack us. You know that, yes, Day said. They will, and they will regret it. Back on Earth, President Yuna sat in the emergency cabinet meeting. The room was deep underground, shielded from any attack. Around the table sat the leaders of humanity's military, intelligence, science divisions. Intelligence Officer Kyung spoke first. He was young, but brilliant. The Council has never actually fought a war. Not a real one. For 3,000 years, they have ruled by fear. Species see their fleets and surrender before fighting even begins. Military Chief Jin leaned forward. She was old and had fought in humanity's expansion wars. Then they have no idea how to fight an enemy that fights back. President Yuna looked tired. She had hoped to avoid this, but the Council left no choice. How many ships can we mobilize? 800 combat vessels, Jin replied. Against their 2,000? But our ships are newer, faster. Our weapons technology is more advanced. They do not know that, Kyung added. Council intelligence believes we are primitive. They think our ships are barely functional. Dr. Tay, who had joined the meeting by video link from the council station, appeared on the screen. They also do not know about our stealth technology, or our cyber warfare capabilities, or our jump point calculations. President Yuna made her decision. If they want war, we will give them war, but not the war they expect. We will not defend our colonies and wait for them to attack. We will strike first. We will strike hard, and we will hit them where they never expect. Jin smiled. It was the smile of a warrior. Aggressive defense. More than that, Yuna said. We will teach them why humanity does not surrender. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made. Orders were sent. Across human space, fleets prepared for war. On the council homeworld of Valora, Chancellor Vok called an emergency vote. The decision was clear. 46 species voted for military action against humanity. Only the peaceful Dothari voted against war. Vok sent one final message to Earth. It was a formality. One last chance for humanity to surrender. He expected no response. Ambassador Day received the message on his ship. He read it once. Then he recorded a response and broadcast it across the entire galaxy. Every species with a receiver would hear it. To the Galactic Council. Humanity has heard your ultimatum. We have heard your threats. We have heard your demands. Our answer is simple. We are done talking. If you want our worlds, come and take them. But know this. Humanity does not kneel. We do not beg, and we do not surrender. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. The message ended. Across the galaxy, billions heard it. Some species were shocked. Others were afraid. The council was furious. General Thrawn assembled his fleet, 2,000 ships. The pride of the Kresh military. He would crush humanity in a single battle. He would burn their colonies. He would make them an example. He gave the order. The fleet jumped to human space. The war had begun. General Thrawn's fleet arrived at New Haven, one of humanity's outer colonies. 2,000 council ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. It was meant to be impressive. It was meant to make humans afraid. On the planet below, Commander Wu watched the fleet appear on his screens. He was calm. He had been expecting this. Begin evacuation protocols. Get all civilians to the underground shelters. His second officer looked nervous. Sir, we only have 300 defense platforms and a dozen patrol ships. They have 2,000 warships. I know, Wu said. That is their mistake. Thrawn opened a communication channel to the planet. His scaled face filled every screen in New Haven. Humans of this world, you have 1 hour to surrender. Lower your shields. Deactivate your weapons. If you resist, we will destroy everything, Wu replied calmly. General Thrawn, this is Commander Wu. I have a counteroffer. Leave now, and we will not destroy your fleet. Thrawn laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. You have 300 weapons platforms. I have 2,000 ships. You are either brave or stupid. Maybe both, Wu said. 59 minutes remaining. Thrawn cut the channel. He ordered his fleet to attack positions. The Kresh did not bluff. In exactly 1 hour, he would begin the bombardment. 59 minutes later, Thrawn gave the order. All ships opened fire. 2,000 council ships fired their weapons at New Haven's defense platforms. Energy beams and missiles filled space. The first wave of platforms exploded. Then something unexpected happened. The debris from destroyed platforms did not drift away. Instead, each piece split apart. Hundreds of small drones emerged from every destroyed platform. They were each the size of a human fist. Thrawn stared at his screens in confusion. What are those? Before anyone could answer, the drones attacked. They moved fast, faster than Council sensors could track properly. They attached to Council ships and began cutting through armor. They are boring into our hulls. One of his captains shouted. "Destroy them," Thrawn ordered. But the drones were too small and too many. Council ships fired at each other trying to hit the drones. More ships exploded from friendly fire than from the drones themselves. In 30 minutes, Thrawn lost 300 ships. The rest of his fleet was damaged. He pulled back, furious and confused. Commander Wu watched from the planet. Phase 1 complete. Now give them Phase 2. The real defense platforms activated. These were hidden deeper in the system, camouflaged as asteroids. They were bigger and more powerful. They fired railguns that moved at incredible speed. Thrawn's fleet scattered. They had never faced weapons like this. Council ships were built for show and intimidation. Human weapons were built to kill. By the end of the day, Thrawn had lost 500 ships. He finally managed to push through to the planet. The defense platforms were destroyed. New Haven's shields fell. Thrawn landed troops on the planet. Commander Wu had already evacuated all civilians. The Kresh occupied an empty colony, but Thrawn did not care. He had one. He claimed victory and sent the news to the Council. Across the galaxy, Council media celebrated. The war was over in one day. Humanity had been defeated. Chancellor Vok made a grand speech about Council power. "Let this be a lesson to all species," Vok announced. "The councils cannot be challenged. Humanity will now negotiate from a position of complete defeat." But Vok was wrong. New Haven was not humanity's defeat. It was their trap. While the council celebrated, Captain Gina led a strike force of 100 human ships. They did not go to defend colonies. They went on the attack. Gina was young for a captain, but deadly smart. She studied the galaxy's jump points for years. She found routes the council thought were too dangerous to use. Unstable, likely to tear ships apart. Human ships were built tougher. They could handle the dangerous routes. In one night, Gina's forces struck 12 council worlds at the same time. Not the homeworlds. Not civilian targets. They hit military shipyards, supply depots, and communication stations. On the Valorian shipyard station of Keltos, workers suddenly saw human ships appear from nowhere. The attack was surgical. Human missiles destroyed the construction bays. Cyber attacks fried the computers. In 15 minutes, the station was crippled. No one died. Gina gave clear orders. Warn the workers first. Let them evacuate. Then destroy the infrastructure. The same thing happened on 11 other worlds. Human strike forces appeared, destroyed military targets, and vanished before Council defense fleets could respond. Back on Valora, Chancellor Vok woke to terrible news. His aide, Morak, stood in his chambers with a datapad. 12 stations destroyed. 8 shipyards crippled. 3 major supply hubs gone. All in one night. Vok felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. How? Our intelligence said humans were trapped at New Haven. They used jump routes we considered impossible, Morak said quietly. Our maps say those routes are death traps. Apparently, humans do not care. Get me General Thrawn. When Thrawn appeared on the screen, he looked exhausted. Chancellor, we are stretched too thin. My fleet is damaged from New Haven. Now I have to defend 12 different systems. I need reinforcements. You have 2,000 ships, Vok shouted. I had 2,000 ships. I lost 500 at New Haven. Another 300 are too damaged to fight. The rest are scattered across the galaxy trying to stop human raiders. Vok ended the call. He sat in his chamber, thinking. Something was very wrong. The Council had superior numbers. They had more ships, more soldiers, more resources, but somehow humans were winning. Morak provided the answer. Chancellor, I have reviewed our intelligence. It was wrong. Very wrong. Explain. Human ships are faster than ours. Their weapons have longer range. Their targeting systems are more accurate. And their cyber warfare capabilities are centuries ahead of our technology. How is that possible? They have only been in space for 150 years. They had to learn fast. Humans fought each other in brutal wars before unifying. They learned how to fight efficiently, how to win against superior numbers, how to hurt enemies without wasting resources. Vok was silent for a long moment. Then he asked the important question, "Can we win this war?" Morok hesitated. "Not the way we are fighting it. We are trying to fight a traditional war. Mass fleets, direct battles, occupation. But humans are not fighting that way. They strike and disappear. They hit us where we are weak. They avoid our strengths. What do? We negotiate." "No." Vok stood. "The Council does not negotiate from weakness. We will not show fear." But privately, Vok was afraid. For 3,000 years, the Council ruled by making others fear them. Now, for the first time, the Council itself was learning what fear felt like. On a captured Council station, human soldiers brought in a prisoner. Lieutenant Sora had been captured during the New Haven evacuation. The Kresh wanted to interrogate her. Thrawn himself came to her cell. "You fought well, for a human, but your bravery is wasted. New Haven is ours. Your people have lost." Sora smiled. She looked tired and bruised, but her smile was genuine. "You still do not understand. New Haven does not matter. It was bait. And you took it? Bait for what? While you wasted ships and soldiers taking one colony, we took 12 of your stations. You won a battle. We are winning the war." Thrawn leaned close. "You cannot win. We have too many ships, too many worlds. Eventually, we will crush you," maybe Sora said. "But you wanted a war. You demanded it. Now you have it. But this is not the war, you know. This is not the war you planned. This is our war. And in our wars, the strong do not always win. The smart do." Thrawn left the cell troubled. Across Council space, other leaders felt the same doubt. The war was only 3 days old, but already nothing was going according to plan. 3 months into the war, the Council was losing control. Not on the battlefield. They still won most direct fights. But winning battles meant nothing when humans refused to fight them. Admiral Chan commanded humanity's fleets from a mobile command ship that never stayed in one place for more than 6 hours. He sat in the dim bridge, studying holographic displays of Council movements. "They still think in formations," he said to his tactical officer. "They group their ships together for protection. That makes them slow, predictable." His officer nodded. "Our strike groups are never larger than 20 ships. We hit them and disappear before their main fleets arrive."
Exactly.
Chan said. "They want one big battle. We give them 1,000 small ones." Strategy was called Phantom Protocol. Human ships operated independently. They chose their own targets. They struck when they had advantage and retreated when they did not. No central battle. No grand confrontation. Just constant pressure. The Council could not adapt. Their military doctrine was 3,000 years old. Change came slowly. Decisions required committee approval. By the time they decided on a strategy, humans had already changed tactics. But the war was hurting humanity too. Intelligence Officer Leah delivered her weekly report to President Yuna. The numbers were brutal. 3 million dead. 23 colonies under siege. Our ship construction is running at maximum capacity, but we are losing vessels faster than we can replace them. Food production is down 15%. Medical supplies are critical. President Yuna looked older than she had 3 months ago. How long can we sustain this? 8 months. Maybe 10, if we ration more severely. And the Council? They can sustain the war for years. They have 50 times our resources. Yuna closed her eyes. But we are winning. Yes, Leo admitted. We are winning. But winning is killing us. The door opened. A messenger entered quickly. President, urgent communication from the Dothri. The Dothri were the only Council species that voted against the war. They were peaceful. They had no military. Other Council species protected them in exchange for their advanced medical technology. On the screen, Elder Ven appeared. The Dothri looked like floating jellyfish, translucent and delicate. Ven spoke in a gentle voice. President Yuna, I bring a warning. The Council is preparing to use stellar converters. Una felt her blood go cold. What are those? Weapons that can destabilize a star. Make it explode. Destroy an entire solar system. The room went silent. Ambassador Day, who was present for the meeting, spoke. How many do they have? We believed 2. But our sources now say 4. They will deploy them within 96 hours. Once active, they cannot be stopped. After Ven signed off, the cabinet erupted into argument. Some wanted to negotiate immediately. Others wanted to strike Council homeworlds before the weapons could be used. Military Chief Jin wanted total war. If they deploy those weapons, we respond with everything. We turn their homeworlds to ash and kill billions of innocents. Day shot back. That makes us worse than them. It keeps our people alive. President Una raised her hand. The room fell silent. There is a third option. We destroy the weapons before they can be deployed. Everyone turned to look at her. Laya shook her head. The weapons are kept in the Caldros vault. It orbits a black hole, protected by gravitational shields and 500 warships. Our intelligence says it is impossible to attack. Nothing is impossible, Captain Gina said. She had been called to the meeting specifically for this. Just very, very difficult. Can you do it? Una asked directly. Gina studied the data on the Caldros vault. She looked at the defensive positions, the shield patterns, the patrol routes. Finally, she looked up. Yes, but most of my team will not come back. I am not ordering you to do this, Una said carefully. I am asking if it is possible. It is possible, and I volunteer to lead it. The mission was approved. Gina assembled a team of 60 soldiers and 6 stealth corvettes. These were humanity's most advanced ships, nearly invisible to sensors, fast enough to outrun anything. But the team needed a distraction, something big enough to pull the defensive fleet away from the vault. Admiral Chan provided it. I will take 50 heavy cruisers on a direct assault. Make them think we are trying to break through with brute force. That is a suicide mission, Day said. Chan smiled. Only if the ships are crewed. 40 of them will be remote-controlled. Drones. We will pilot them from a safe distance. The Council will figure it out eventually. They will, but not quickly enough. The plan was set. Admiral Chan's fleet would attack from the front. The Council would focus all their attention on stopping the assault. While they were distracted, Gina's team would slip through the chaos. Gina gathered her team on the stealth ship Phantom. Among them were Specialist Nari, a cyber warfare expert, and Soldier Minho, who had lost his family when New Haven fell. This mission is simple, Gina told them. We get in. We destroy the stellar converters. We get out. The vault is defended by the best the Council has. Many of us will not survive. If anyone wants to back out, do it now. No shame, no one moved. 60 soldiers stood ready. Minho spoke up. My family died in New Haven. I want to make their deaths mean something. If we stop these weapons, we save billions. That means something. The others nodded. They all had reasons. Lost homes. Dead friends. Destroyed families. The war had hurt everyone. Nari checked her equipment one last time. She was young, barely 25. Her brother Kyung worked in intelligence back on Earth. She had promised him she would come home, but she knew the truth. The Caldros vault was designed to be impregnable. Getting in was difficult. Getting out might be impossible. The fleet moved into position. Admiral Chan's 50 cruisers appeared at the edge of the black hole's gravitational well. The Council's defensive fleet responded immediately. 500 ships moved to intercept. Exactly as planned. General Thrawn himself commanded the defense. He saw the human fleet and smiled. Finally, they are desperate enough to try a direct assault. Foolish. His ships opened fire. The human cruisers fired back. Explosions lit up space. Ships on both sides took damage. The battle was fierce. Thrawn did not notice 6 small ships slipping through the chaos. The stealth corvettes were nearly invisible. They hugged the black hole's event horizon. using the gravitational distortion to hide from sensors. Gina watched her screens as they approached the vault. It was massive. A fortress in space. Weapons covered every surface. Shields shimmered around it. "Nari, you are up," Gina said. Nari worked her computer systems. She had studied Council security protocols for months. She found the weakness. Council technology was old. Reliable, but old. It did not expect attack patterns that had been developed in the last 50 years. "I am in," Nari said quietly, opening a gap in the shields. "We have 30 seconds." The 6 corvettes shot through the gap. They landed in a maintenance bay deep inside the vault. Alarms did not sound. The Council's security systems did not even register the intrusion. Gina and her team moved quickly through the corridors. They encountered their first resistance at a checkpoint. Valorian guards. 4 of them. The fight was short and brutal. Human weapons were loud in the enclosed space. 2 of Gina's soldiers were hit. They kept moving. They reached the central chamber. For massive devices sat in containment fields. The stellar converters. Each one was the size of a small building. Minho set charges on the first device. "We cannot take them. They are too big, too heavy. We blow them here." "That will destroy the vault," Nari said. "With us in it?" Gina replied. "We knew this was one way." More guards arrived. The team formed a defensive position. Minho and 5 others held the entrance while the rest finished planting explosives. The firefight intensified. Crush shock troops arrived. They were bigger and stronger than the Valorian guards. Minho took 3 hits, but kept fighting. Charges set. Someone shouted, "Fall back to the ships," Gina ordered. But Kresh troops blocked the path. Too many of them. The team was trapped. Nair looked at her computer. At the detonator. She made a decision. "Go. I will trigger the charges manually. Buy you time to escape," Gina said. "We all go, or no one does." "There is no time," Nari shouted. "The charges need to be triggered from here. The signal will not penetrate the shielding otherwise. Someone has to stay." Minho stepped forward. "I will do it," Nari said firmly. "I am already at the terminal. You are soldiers. You fight. I am support. This is my job." Before anyone could argue, she locked the door behind them. Gina and the team had no choice. They fought their way back to the corvettes. Nari sat at the terminal. Her hands shook. She pulled up a communication channel to Earth. To her brother, Kyun. "Kyun, if you get this, tell Mom I am sorry I will miss her birthday. Tell her I love her. Tell everyone we made it matter." She activated the detonator. The stellar converters exploded. The chain reaction was instant. The vault's power core overloaded. The gravitational shields collapsed. The entire structure fell into the black hole. 500 ships and the ultimate weapons of the Council. All gone in a flash of light. Gina's corvettes escaped just as the vault imploded. She watched the destruction on her screens. 41 of her team made it out. 19 did not. She sent her report to Earth. Mission accomplished. Stellar converters destroyed. High casualties. President Yuna received the news. She felt relief and grief. They had prevented a catastrophe, but the cost was high. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Council's ultimate weapons were gone. Their ace in hand. Their final threat. Destroyed by humans who refused to be intimidated. On Valora, Chancellor Voke stared at the reports in disbelief. Half the Council members were now demanding peace. The other half wanted total war. The Council itself was fracturing, and deep down, Voke knew the truth. The Council had never faced an enemy like humanity. For 3,000 years, fear had been enough. But humans would not be afraid. And now, the galaxy itself was learning that the Council could be beaten. The destruction of the Caldros Vault changed everything. Within days, 3 Council member species withdrew their fleets. They cited resource concerns. But everyone knew the truth. They were afraid. The Threen were the first. They mined rare minerals that powered Council ships. But human blockades stopped their transport convoys. Without payment, the Thrine stopped mining. Council shipyards ran out of materials. The Karathi followed. They provided medical supplies across Council space. Human cyber attacks destroyed their logistics network. Medicine piled up in warehouses while soldiers died on battlefields. General Thrawn raged at his staff. How can we fight without supplies? Without medicine, we are the strongest military in the galaxy. His aide, a young Kresh named Bach, spoke carefully. General, we are strong in battle. But humans do not fight us in battle. They attack our support structure, our infrastructure. They make it impossible to sustain the war. Then we burn their worlds. All of them. We tried that. They evacuate before we arrive. We occupy empty cities. Meanwhile, they destroy 3 of our stations. Thrawn knew Bach was right. But admitting it meant admitting the war was lost. He was Kresh. His people did not surrender. On Earth, President Yuna faced her own problems. Intelligence Officer Kyung, recently promoted after his sister's death, delivered his report with a heavy heart. Resource depletion is critical. We have lost 8 major colonies. Food production is down 30%. Ship construction facilities are working beyond capacity. Workers are exhausted. How long can we continue? Yuna asked. For months. Maybe 5? And the council? They can fight for years. But they are fracturing politically. 14 species have withdrawn support. More are wavering. Ambassador Day leaned forward. We are winning the political war, but we need to end this soon. Our people cannot sustain much longer. Admiral Chan had a different view. If we negotiate now, we negotiate from strength. We can get good terms. But if we wait too long and our resources fail, we lose our advantage. Military Chief Jin disagreed. If we stop now, the council will rebuild. In 50 years, they will try again. We need to break their power permanently. The debate raged for hours. Finally, Yuna made her decision. We continue fighting, but we shift strategy. No more pure military operations. We target their political unity. We offer separate peace to council species. Divide them was a risky strategy, but humanity had no choice. The war could not continue indefinitely. Meanwhile, on Valora, Chancellor Vok faced a rebellion. Half the council demanded immediate peace talks. The other half, led by General Thrawn, demanded total commitment to destroying humanity. The council chamber was chaos. Aliens shouted at each other. Some threatened to leave the council entirely. The 3,000-year-old alliance was breaking. A representative from the Threen stood, "We have lost 30% of our mining ships. Our economy is collapsing. We cannot continue this war." A Kresh warrior slammed his fist on the table. "Cowards! You abandon us because humans frighten you. They do not frighten us. They are destroying us. Look at the numbers." Vok tried to maintain order, but the truth was obvious. The council was dying, not from military defeat. From internal collapse that night, Vok met secretly with his closest advisor, Morak. They sat in a secure room, away from listening devices. "Tell me the truth," Vok said quietly. "Can we win?" Morak hesitated. He had served Vok for decades. He had never lied. "No, not the way we are fighting. We win battles. They win the war. Every day we continue, we lose more allies, more resources, more credibility. What do you suggest?" "Negotiate. Offer humans what they want. End this before the council destroys itself." Kresh will never accept that. Thrawn will call it surrender. Then let the Kresh fight alone. See how long they last without council support. Bach considered this. It was ruthless, but possibly necessary. The council's survival mattered more than Kresh pride. Back in human space, Captain Gina had been promoted to admiral after the Vault mission. She now commanded a fleet of 200 ships. Her mission was to pressure council supply lines. She stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Vengeance, named for all those who died. For Nari, for Minho, for everyone who sacrificed. Admiral, we have located a Council supply convoy. Her tactical officer report. DI-40 transport ships, 20 escorts. Odds in our favor. They are spread out. Poor formation. They have civilians aboard. Negative. Pure military cargo. Then we attack. All ships, battle formation. The attack was swift. Human ships moved with precision. They disabled escort ships first, then surrounded the transports. Within 30 minutes, the convoy was captured. Gina opened a channel to the convoy commander, a Valorian named Toke. Commander Toke, your ships are surrounded. Order your crews to evacuate 2 life pods. We are taking your supplies. Toke looked angry and defeated. You are pirates. We are at war. You attacked us first. Evacuate your people. You have 10 minutes. Toke complied. Council crews abandoned ship. Human boarding teams took control of the transports. The supplies would feed human colonies for months. As the life pods drifted away, Toke sent one final message. You fight without honor. Gina replied calmly. We fight to survive. Your council wanted war. This is what war looks like. News of the convoy capture spread. It was one of dozens of similar operations. Human raiders struck everywhere. Council logistics became impossible. The Dothary, still officially part of the council but opposed to the war, reached out to Ambassador Day again. Elder Ven appeared on a secure channel. Ambassador, the council is close to internal collapse. 17 species now privately support your position. They want reform, but they are afraid to speak publicly. What do they need? Day asked. Assurance. Proof that humanity wants peace, not domination. Many species fear you will replace the council with human rule. Day understood. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want equality. Every species with a voice. No more ultimatums. Can you prove that? Day thought carefully. Then he made a bold proposal. Tell them humanity will support the creation of a new galactic federation. Equal representation for all species. Decisions by consensus, not force. We will put it in writing. Ven was surprised. You would commit to this, even if you lose? We do not fight for power. We fight for the right to exist. To be treated as equals. Ven agreed to carry the message. Within days, Council species began private negotiations with humanity. Not official, not public, but real. Chancellor Vok learned of these secret talks. He was furious. Traitors. They negotiate with our enemy. But Morak pointed out the obvious. If we stop them, the Council fractures completely. If we allow it, we might salvage something. Vok felt his power slipping away. For 3,000 years, the Council ruled by fear and authority. Now, species were making their own choices. The old order was dying. In a desperate move, Vok sent a formal surrender offer to Earth. The terms were simple. Return to pre-war borders. No reparations from either side. Both sides keep what they have. President Yuna read the offer. Her cabinet gathered to discuss it. It is everything we wanted, one advisor said. We can end the war now. But Ambassador Day shook his head. It is not enough. The Council will still exist. It will still have power. In 50 years, they will try again. Military Chief Jin agreed. We need to break them completely. Dissolve the Council. Create something new. Admiral Chan was more cautious. If we demand too much, they will fight to the last ship. Oh, we need to give them a way out. A way to save face. President Yuna listened to all sides. Then she made her decision. We counteroffer. We propose dissolving the Council and creating a galactic federation. Every species equal. Decisions by consensus. If they refuse, we continue the war. The counteroffer was sent. Chancellor Vok read it in disbelief. Dissolve the Council? Impossible. The Council was eternal. 3,000 years of tradition. But as he looked around at the fractured alliance, at the empty seats where species had withdrawn, at the financial reports showing collapsing economies, he realized something. The Council was already dead. Humanity had not killed it with weapons. It killed it by showing the galaxy there was another way, a better way. Vok called an emergency session. The vote would determine everything. Keep fighting and watch the council destroy itself. Or accept change and survive in a new form. The galaxy held its breath. War or peace, the old order or a new beginning. Everything hung in the balance, and somewhere in human space, on the bridge of her ship, Admiral Gina looked at the stars and whispered a prayer for the dead, for Neri, for Minho, for all those who died so others could live free. The war was not over. Perhaps finally the end was near. 6 months after the war began, the Galactic Council gathered for what might be its final vote. The chamber was half empty. 21 species had withdrawn from the council entirely. Others sent representatives but refused to commit forces. Chancellor Vok stood before the remaining members. He looked old and tired. 3,000 years of tradition weighed on his shoulders. The humans have offered terms. We disband the council, create a new galactic federation where every species has equal vote. No hierarchy, no central authority, just consensus. General Thrawn of the Kresh stood immediately. This is surrender. We are the council. We have ruled for 3,000 years. We do not bow to humans. A representative from the Threne stood next. We have no choice. Our economy has collapsed. Our people starve. We cannot continue this war. Then you are cowards, Thrawn shouted. We are practical, the Thrawn replied calmly. The humans have proven they cannot be conquered. They fight smarter. They adapt faster. Every day we continue costs us more than we can afford. The debate raged for hours. But the vote was inevitable. 32 species supported the Federation proposal. Only the Kresh and 3 other warrior species voted to continue the war. Vok announced the result. The motion passes. I will meet with the humans to negotiate the terms. Thrawn stood and walked out. He did not accept this. He would not. The Kresh would fight alone if necessary, but most of the galaxy was done fighting. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Day arrived at the neutral world of Doth, homeworld of the peaceful Dothri. The summit would take place here, away from Earth and Valora. President Yuna had given Day full authority to negotiate. Get us peace. But get us equality. That is all that matters. Chancellor Vok arrived with a small delegation. For security reasons, only a few representatives from each side attended. The galaxy watched through news feeds. The negotiations were difficult. Vok wanted to preserve some council authority. Day refused. The council's time is over. Every species must have equal voice. That will create chaos, Vok argued. Decisions will take forever. Nothing will get done. Better slow decisions than dictatorial ones, Day replied. The council ruled by fear. The Federation will rule by cooperation. They argued about details, voting procedures, how to handle disputes, military coordination, trade regulations. Each point took hours to resolve. Finally, after 3 weeks of negotiation, they reached agreement. The Galactic Federation Charter was written. It guaranteed equal representation for every species. Decisions required majority consensus. No species could be forced to follow policies they did not agree to. Military action required unanimous approval. But one problem remained. General Thrawn and the Kresh refused to participate. They still wanted war. Day addressed this directly. What will you do about the Kresh? Vok sighed. I cannot control them. If they wish to continue fighting, that is their choice. Then humanity will defend itself. I understand. But know this. The rest of the council will not support them. They fight alone. The treaty was signed. Across the galaxy, billions watched as Vok and Day shook hands. The old council was dissolved. The Galactic Federation was born. News spread quickly. Most species celebrated. They were tired of war, tired of the council's demands. The Federation offered hope for something better, but on the Kresh homeworld of Krex, General Thrawn addressed his warriors. The council has betrayed us. They have surrendered to humans, but we are Kresh. We do not surrender. We will fight until humanity is destroyed or we are extinct. 500 Kresh warships prepared for one final assault. They would strike Earth itself. Kill the human leadership. Force surrender. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it. but the Kresh did not care. Death in battle was honorable, surrender was not. Intelligence Officer Kyung detected the Kresh fleet movement immediately. He reported to President Yuna. Kresh forces moving toward Earth. 500 ships. They will arrive in 48 hours. Can we stop them? Yuna asked. Admiral Chan nodded. Yes, but it will be bloody. They are coming for a final battle. They want glory or death. Admiral Gina requested to lead the defense. I owe it to everyone we lost. Let me finish this. Yuna approved. Gina assembled a fleet of 400 ships, fewer than the Kresh, but better equipped, better trained. The two fleets met in space near Earth's outer colonies. General Thrawn opened a communication channel. Humans, today the Kresh show you what real warriors look like. We will burn your world, kill your leaders, avenge our honor. Gina replied simply, You will die for nothing. Your council has already surrendered. This war is over.
Ours!
Yes. Not for Kresh. The battle began. It was the largest single engagement of the war. 500 Kresh ships attacked in traditional formation. Massive, impressive, intimidating. JINA, single quotes, scattered. They did not meet the Kreshed. Instead, they attacked from multiple angles. They used the same tactics that won every previous battle. Strike and move. Hit weak points. Avoid direct confrontation. Thrawn grew frustrated. They run like prey. Face us in honorable combat. But honor meant nothing in modern war. The Kresh lost ships quickly. 100. 200. 300. Finally, Thrawn realized the truth. They could not win. The Kresh were trapped between human fleets. Their formation was broken, their ships burning. Thrawn opened a final channel to Gina. You fight without honor, but you fight well. I die with pride. You die for nothing, Gina replied sadly. This war was already over. Thrawn's ship exploded in a final desperate charge. The remaining Kresh ships scattered. Some fled. Others fought until destroyed. Within hours, it was over. The last battle of the war ended not with human victory speeches, but with silence. Gina looked at her casualty reports. 70 ships lost. 3,000 humans dead. She broadcast a message to all human ships. The war is over. We won. But remember everyone we lost. Remember why we fought. We did not fight for glory. We fought for the right to exist. To be free. Honor the dead by building something better. On Earth, President Yuna addressed humanity. Today, the war ends. Tomorrow, we begin building a galaxy where no one dictates terms through fear, where every species has a voice, where cooperation replaces domination. She paused, emotion clear in her voice. We paid a terrible price. 10 million dead. 30 colonies damaged or destroyed. Resources depleted. But we survived. And more than that, we changed the galaxy. Across human space, people celebrated and mourned simultaneously. They had won. But victory tasted bitter. The Galactic Federation's first assembly took place 1 month later. Representatives from 47 species gathered, not in the old council chamber on Valora, but in a new neutral station built specifically for the Federation. The chamber was designed differently. No elevated seats. No positions of authority. Every species sat as equals. Former Chancellor Voke attended as Valora's representative. He looked diminished, but also relieved. The burden of council leadership was gone. Ambassador Day spoke first. Welcome to the Galactic Federation. We gather not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. Every voice matters. Every species contributes. The first order of business was practical. Rebuilding war-damaged worlds, re-establishing trade routes, coordinating defense against pirates and raiders. But the real change was deeper. Species that had feared council authority now spoke freely. Ideas were debated openly. Decisions were made through discussion, not dictation. It was messy. It was slow. but it was fair. Admiral Gina was promoted to lead the Federation's integrated defense force. Ships from multiple species trained together. Former enemies learned to work as allies. Dr. Hayon, the scientist who developed humanity's advanced communication technology, was appointed to head the Federation's technology sharing program. Human advances in cyber warfare, jump point navigation, ship design were offered to all species. Intelligence Officer Kyung led the War Crimes Investigation Committee. They documented atrocities committed by both sides. Crash commanders who bombed civilian targets, human raiders who were too aggressive. Justice was impartial. President Yuna stepped down after the war. She had led humanity through its darkest hour. Now, she wanted rest. In her final speech, she said, "We fought this war not to dominate, but to prove a simple truth. Freedom is not negotiable. Not for humans. Not for anyone. The galaxy now has a choice. Rule by fear or cooperation. We chose cooperation. I hope you do the same." Her successor, President Deho, committed to the Federation. Humanity would be a partner, not a leader. On Valora Vok walked through the old council chambers. They were being converted into a museum, a reminder of what the galaxy once was. He paused at his former seat. For 3,000 years, the council ruled from here. Now, it was history. He felt sadness. But also understanding the council failed because it never adapted. It ruled the same way for 3,000 years. When it finally faced an enemy that would not be intimidated, it had no answer. Humanity had won not with superior numbers or technology. They won because they refused to accept a galaxy where might made right. They fought for something the council never understood: principle. Years later, historians would study the war. They would write books, make documentaries, analyze every battle. But they would all agree on one thing: the war was not won when humanity destroyed the Adro's vault. It was not won in any single battle. It was won the moment Ambassador Day said no in the council chamber. That single word changed everything. It showed the galaxy that the council could be challenged, that their authority was not absolute, that there was another way. Admiral Gina retired after 10 years of service. She spent her remaining years teaching at the Federation's military academy. She always told students the same thing: we did not fight for glory. We fought because we had no choice. Remember that. War is not glorious. It is necessary only when all other options fail. Our victory was not in how many ships we destroyed. It was in building something better afterward. On the memorial wall at Federation headquarters, 10 million names were carved. Every human who died in the war, every sacrifice remembered, and next to the human names, the names of aliens who died too. Council soldiers who were just following orders, civilians caught in crossfire, even General Thrawn, who died for a cause he believed in, because in the end, everyone was a victim of the old way, the way of ultimatums and fear, the way of domination and submission. The Galactic Federation was not perfect. It had problems, disagreements. Sometimes species clashed, but they talked. They negotiated. They found solutions without resorting to war, and at every meeting. When debates got too heated, when species threatened to walk away, someone would always say the same thing: remember what happened when talking stopped? Remember the war? Remember why we built this federation? It was enough. Usually it was enough. Ambassador Day served the Federation until his death at 93. At his funeral, representatives from every species attended, even Valorians. Even the few remaining Kresh. Vok, now old and frail, gave a speech. Ambassador Day was my enemy, then my equal, then my friend. He taught me that strength is not about forcing others to obey. It is about standing for what is right, even when the galaxy tells you to kneel. President Yuna, still alive in her old age, smiled at those words. He would have liked that. The galaxy had changed. Not perfectly, but permanently, and it all started because humanity refused to talk when talking meant surrender. Because they chose war to prove that freedom mattered. Because they understood that some things are worth fighting for, the council had panicked.
Oh.
They thought it meant war would come. They were right. But they did not understand what kind of war it would be. Not a war of conquest. A war of principle. And in the end, principle won. Not because it was stronger, but because it was right. The story of how humanity forced the galaxy to listen became legend. Parents told it to children. Teachers taught it in schools. It was a reminder that even the smallest voice matters. Even when facing impossible odds, even when the powerful demand silence, sometimes the most important thing you can say is no.